Alright, hello guys again. So I'm gonna go ahead, I literally have just one slide because yesterday I was nerding out too much about the other things we were talking about, so I didn't quite get to this slide, and since this is what our article is going to focus on the next couple of days, I wanted to make sure that I at least introduced it to you. Alright, so today our focus is going to be about Alzheimer's disease, okay, so it is Alzheimer's. Sometimes I hear people say Alzheimer's. There's no T in there. Alright, so it is Alzheimer's disease. And what Alzheimer's disease is, you might have heard about through maybe people you know, maybe one of your grandparents might have it. Sometimes it's like the plot in several like movies or TV shows. So what Alzheimer's actually is, it's a progressive degenerative brain disease. So this is one that does not happen immediately. It does happen over the span of somebody's life, which is why we tend to see it in people in the age of 65 and older. Okay, and so what happens with someone who has Alzheimer's disease is that their brain structure actually changes. So instead of having the nice healthy connections that you see in some of these healthier brains, okay, the connections are going to start to deteriorate. Okay, so what we're noticing is that when we look at normal brains, we see there's some pretty good connections, the folds are close together, the brain is a nice, usually healthy pink color. So you can see it here in this picture. You can also see it over here. Now, someone who has advanced Alzheimer's, their brain will look very different. So there's actually a structural deformity going on. So their brain actually makes less of the... Sorry, I'm putting my cat down. The brain actually has less connections to it. And so with this, we notice that brain tissue, those folds are really, really far apart. The brain itself actually begins to shrink a little bit because it's losing its density, which obviously these structural abnormalities are going to lead into some pretty major symptoms. Things like memory loss, irritability, confusion, and ultimately, so in the end stages of Alzheimer's, and usually pretty close to the last amount of time that person is alive, can sometimes lead into hallucinations and death. What we notice with Alzheimer's is that a lot of the short-term memory is affected, but the long-term memory is typically the one that stays intact. So people with Alzheimer's, they might remember times when they were in their 20s or 30s. Okay, they might remember events really well when they're in their 20s or 30s, but they might not remember what they had for breakfast. They might not remember who they are. If they've had like grandchildren or great-grandchildren, they have difficulty recognizing them. So with Alzheimer's, it's one that is unfortunately kind of common, especially here in the United States. But we are working on, in the neuroscience field, we're working on trying to figure out what causes Alzheimer's and if there are any treatments and or cures to this. So the article that we're going to look at was just published in 2015 and then revised in 2016. So once again, a lot of this neuroscience is really recent. Okay, we are still learning all the different parts of the brain. We're not anywhere close to knowing everything about the brain yet. So every year I kind of look and see if there's any new research, and this was a study that was published not too long ago. So I'm going to go ahead and attach a PDF for this. This article was in a magazine that I get because I'm a nerdy science teacher about anatomy. So I'll go ahead and attach a PDF, and there will be some questions that follow up with it. If you guys have any questions about the content or anything else like that, feel free to shoot me an email. I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you later.